WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. The U.S. Supreme Court overturns the conviction of Curtis Flowers. In the past 2 decades, Flowers has been tried 6 times for the murders of 4 people in Winona at a Winona furniture store. The High Court threw out the latest conviction because of what they say is the district attorney's efforts to keep African Americans off the jury. It's been 23 years since Bertha Tardy, the owner of Tardy Furniture in downtown Winona, and 3 employees were shot and killed in an execution-style murder. Curtis Flowers, a former employee, was arrested and charged with all 4 deaths. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote the majority opinion stating the prosecutor's removal of black prospective jurors violated Flowers' rights. 2 previous trials ended in hung juries. Today's ruling makes the 4th trial to be overturned. Winona is home to about 5,500 people, give or take, and most of them each know each other. It is those people our Riley Livingston spoke with today. She joins us live in the studio with more. Riley, what are they saying?
Scott, he has been the topic of case studies, news reports, and a podcast. Curtis Flowers has supporters and he has detractors. But one thing is for certain, everyone in Winona has an opinion. One morning in 1996, the town of Winona changed. 4 people were killed in the Tardy Furniture store. People who knew the suspect were called to testify. Family and friends of the victims have read impact statements. There were detectives and investigators and expert witnesses. Now, more than 20 years later, a lot of people don't know what to believe. This building behind me is the old Tardy Furniture store where that crime happened. I talked with members of the community, and their reactions are what you might expect. They're pretty much mixed. Friday's Supreme Court announcement is the resolution some residents want.
I'm very happy. That lets me know that God is at work. And when God overturned things, you know, even though he probably have suffered being under incarceration, but at least they did pursue, you know, getting him some type of release. And I pray that this will bring to a total release for him and his family. I'm sure it is a blessing.
That's the greatest thing could happen. He didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? He tried 6 times with the same evidence. So evidently he didn't. The Supreme Court overturned.
But those multiple overturned trials have others feeling uneasy.
I guess it's really mixed feelings because I've known Curtis, I knew him quite some time and just couldn't believe that it happened, but all evidence indicates that he was involved in it. At the moment, it is unknown if Flowers will face his 7th trial. But if he does, Michael Collins says things need to change.
You gotta retry him or turn him loose. Then you gotta have some new evidence. You can't keep trying a man with the same old evidence.
Many of the people we spoke to didn't want to go on camera. Some told me that they are happy about the Supreme Court decision. Others say the decision should have never happened. But everyone tells me they want to see the case come to a close.
All right, Riley, thank you very much. Fallout continues in Webster County after former Sheriff Tim Mitchell's time in office. Today, the Webster County Board of Supervisors acknowledged receipt of a lawsuit filed against the county and the Sheriff's Department. Felicia Robinson says Mitchell released her husband, Darren Patterson, from jail on a furlough back on November 2nd of 2018. It wasn't the first time. Robinson claims just weeks earlier, Patterson tried to run her over with his car, and that former Sheriff Mitchell knew all about it. In court documents, Robinson says that she called the Sheriff's Department for help after he allegedly punched a hole in the wall, her husband. Now, she says instead of sending help, the dispatcher put another inmate on the phone to try and calm Patterson down. According to Robinson, that only made matters worse. She was seriously injured and says when Patterson threw sulfuric acid on her, causing 2nd and 3rd degree burns. Now Robinson is seeking $30 million or more in compensation, plus punitive damages against Mitchell, Patterson, and former dispatcher Santana Townsend. Also in Webster County, supervisors there, they want their money back. They say former Sheriff Tim Mitchell owes them big time. Our Cash Matlock, he attended a special called meeting this morning. He has more on the story.
The Webster County Board of Supervisors held a special meeting this morning to discuss the litigation of former Sheriff Tim Mitchell for the salary he was paid while under investigation. Tim Mitchell was arrested in December and charged with 12 felonies. He was booked into jail and given a $400,000 bond. He was also allowed to keep his job as sheriff with full pay. But he could not run the county from jail, so supervisors appointed Deputy Andy McCants as acting sheriff. McCants received a sheriff's salary as well. Mitchell was released to house arrest in January. He has continued to draw a salary and benefits, but as we reported on June 12th, Mitchell pled guilty to 4 felony counts. As part of his plea deal, the former sheriff resigned. Now, supervisors want Mitchell to pay them back for the past 5 months and 12 days, over $45,000 in salary and benefits. The board plans to meet with the Jackson law firm Monday to discuss getting paid back as well as any further court costs. Reporting in Webster County, Cash Matlock, WCBI News.
Mitchell will be formally sentenced in July. Time now to get a first look at our Friday forecast. We'll send things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Keith, it's the first day of summer and it's feeling like it.
It looks and feels like summer, Scott. A live view here with our Alpha Insurance camera network. You can see how nice it is. Temperature-wise, not so pleasant. It is still in the low 90s. The heat index in the triple digits. It's a scorcher out there. But just to our north, we have some storms, and newly issued the severe thunderstorm watch. It does include northern Mississippi until 1 o'clock in the morning and all of West Tennessee. A line of very strong storms here in northwestern Tennessee, moving more east than south, but these have been producing wind damage, and they are trending to the southeast over time. So some of that could clip far northeastern Mississippi later this evening. Most of us will not see it, but we're going to keep the gusty storm chance going, especially in the northeastern counties later on tonight. We'll be back with your weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
A month-long investigation in Pontotoc County leads to human trafficking and prostitution charges against 3 people. Sheriff Leo Mask says Kenneth Cornell and Michael Haysett Farrell are both charged with human trafficking. Antonio Rodrigo is charged with procuring prostitution. The sheriff says the 3 adults befriended a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old after the pair left a residential treatment center there in Pontotoc. Sheriff Mask says the investigation revealed that the 3 suspects coerced the victims into prostitution.
All of this happened. They went to a cookout. They had left Mill Creek, slipped off of Mill Creek, and then they'd met someone and they'd taken them to a cookout. And all this happened. And, you know, we had the people that had taken them there had a lot of this was involved in setting this up.
Sheriff Mask says this is the first human trafficking case his office has worked. The 3 suspects also have prior criminal records. An area sheriff is reaching out to the community to help with the cost of a new canine. Riley Martin has more from the sheriff, who says limited budgets mean law officers sometimes have to get creative.
For more than a year, a German Shepherd named Naygood served as the canine at the Chickasaw County Sheriff's Department.
Helps with narcotic detection. He was very good at tracking.
But an injury suffered during training sent Naygood into early retirement. He now lives with the Sheriff Department's canine officer, but a new dog is needed. With limited funds available, Sheriff Myers took to Facebook seeking donations from the public.
We live in a small county. You know, I have a budget, and just like our road department has a budget, and, you know, we just have a limited supply of stuff that we can actually purchase through our budget. And we've been very, very fortunate in Chickasaw County that our citizens always step up to the plate. They've helped us on anything we've ever needed.
Sheriff Myers says he doesn't particularly enjoy going to the public asking for donations, but he also knows that a well-trained, multi-purpose canine can be a great tool for law enforcement, and it can also help keep his deputies safer on the streets.
Anytime we do a building search or a criminal apprehension, it's nice to have a dog because you know, a lot of times a dog can do things that a man can't do.
Sheriff Myers hopes to have funds for the new canine within the next few weeks so the dog can get certified and bond with its handler. In Chickasaw County, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
If you'd like to donate, you can contact the Chickasaw County Sheriff's Department at 662-456-2339. You can also send the department a message through Facebook. Caught on camera, an SUV collides with a bulldozer on Highway 45, sending one woman to the hospital. Now, we want to caution you, some of this video you might see is a little graphic. Surveillance video from Exterior Home Products catches the moment of impact. Here in just a moment, you'll see a white SUV approaching the bulldozer, sideswiping it, then swerves onto the other side of the highway, crashing into a small embankment. Several other cars also traveling in the other direction. They ended up in that same ditch to avoid hitting the white truck. Troopers say that 44-year-old Regina Wilkinson of Amory was ejected from that vehicle. She was flown to a Tupelo hospital, and troopers say at last check she was stable. The Alma Dogs are home earlier than expected, but that didn't keep the faithful from turning out. We take a look at the homecoming when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. The Diamond Dogs are home from Omaha. Now, it's not the way anyone hoped the story would end, but that didn't stop dozens of fans from showing their support to the boys. Fans lined up outside Duty Noble this afternoon as the bus pulled up with the team. Some of the fans even got to lined up to get autographs from Jake Mangum, Coach Chris Lamonis, and a few of the other players. Dads and daughters from across the region will enjoy an evening of food, dancing, crafts, and other activities, and raise money for Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. The 17th annual Gumtree Father-Daughter Ball is tomorrow night at the Bancorp South Arena. There are photo booths, a silent auction, a DJ will provide the music, and Disney princesses and other well-known characters will be on hand for the enchanted evening.
All the funds go to Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, and then of course we let them decide where the most need is and just utilize the money where they see best.
More than 1,000 people are expected to be at the big event. This year's theme is Alice in Wonderland.
Hot and humid out there right now. Still the chance for some gusty storms, especially in the northeastern part of the coverage area later this evening. Most of us probably will not see it, especially if you live farther south and west, but the weekend will be warm everywhere. The details on that are next. Stay tuned.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
It is warm, it is steamy out there. A lot of you in downtown Columbus. Currently, we are in the low 90s. The heat index is warm as 104 at the Air Force Base. For those of you in Tippah, Alcorn, Prentiss, and Tishomingo counties, you are actually under a severe thunderstorm watch. This was just issued over the last 30 minutes. That goes until 1 o'clock in the morning. There's a gusty batch of storms here. Northeastern Arkansas, northwestern Tennessee. These are moving east-southeast. They have a history of wind damage, actually, as we show the storm reports over the last 12 hours. All these white dots all the way back out into the high plains. Damaging wind gusts over 50 miles per hour, at least in some of these spots. So that's what we've been monitoring. We go back to 8:30 this morning, those storms rumbling across the high plains. They are really coming on down this frontal boundary. You don't see it, but there's a little bit of a frontal boundary here, and these storms are coming down to the southeast, and they're bowing out, producing some wind damage, and some of that could actually clip the northern part of our coverage area later this evening. So this is a high-resolution forecast model. This is not gospel here, but this is midnight, and you can see generally along I-22 and north, there's a chance for some of those gusty storms to come on in, and actually some of that could actually get down into parts of West Alabama, maybe as far south as Columbus. We'll see about that. This is still up in the air. So those storms are possible tonight, and then the big story this weekend. Plenty of heat, plenty of humidity. So for tonight, gusty storms possible, especially across our northern and eastern counties for late evening through the early part of the overnight hours. But if you live south and west of, let's say, West Point, Columbus, probably nothing here. Lows tonight down into the mid-70s. For your Saturday, mid-80s by 10, 94 the forecast high. The heat index, look at that again, 100 to about 105 plus. So very warm on Saturday across the board here. Low and mid-90s actual air temperatures. You factor in all of that humidity. well into the triple digits. Same story for your Sunday, too. So warm and steamy will be this weekend. Now, our next best chance for widespread showers and storms will actually be after the weekend into early next week, more so for Monday and Tuesday as that frontal system gets a little bit closer, some upper level energy too. So this weekend, don't really plan on a lot of natural relief. Try to stay cool. Find a pool, stay in the AC, stay hydrated, but there could be some gusty storms tonight. We'll be following that. And of course, you want to tune in to WCBI News at 10 for the latest on that.
Last night didn't go the way the Diamond Dogs had planned. Our sports team has a look at last night when we come back.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further. WCBI sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series is brought to you in part by Monroe County Farm Bureau, Jackson Square Storage, Bill Cunningham, attorney at law, and Bank First, a better way to bank.
It didn't really feel real, you know. Tell yourself something in your head so much you expect it's gonna happen. Remember that night in Rice? Or no, you weren't there.
Rice Hall, yeah,
you were there. Rice Hall. We made a promise we were gonna bring a national championship, and we fell short, brother. But fought like hell doing it. And,
came twice though.
Came to Omaha twice, just couldn't finish it.
Right when that ball was hit, it kind of already sank in. Like I felt it, and I was like, "There's no way this is what that just happened." I know I left my mark in college, and you know, I'm very blessed to be here. And moving forward, I know later down the road, if I have a family, I can look back and be like, you know, I competed here two years in a row, and so I'm gonna look at it like that. You know, thank God for everything He's done.
This is a special place, special team, and it took a lot to get here. It took a lot of time in the fall. It took a lot of time in the spring. And just, you know, us being here together was all I could have asked for. You know, with these guys, this last group, to end it in Omaha, something special.
I leaned on them as much as they probably leaned on me, and they were a group of winners. I always say so we had a lot of alphas, leaders, and this was a player-driven team. It wasn't about the coach. It was about what they wanted and what they expected, and I just hate they came up a little short.
WCBI sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series is brought to you in part by Bill Russell Ford, Prestige Farms, OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, Home Store Furnishings in Starkville, and Visit Columbus, the city that...
A severe thunderstorm watch for the northern tier of Mississippi. That goes until 1 o'clock in the morning. We're watching that gusty batch of storms and showers north of Memphis. It's had a history of wind damage. It looks like it's weakening a little bit as far as what you see there, but there's still some good wind in that, and it's moving southeast. We'll watch that for the northern tier this evening. For all of us this weekend, Scott, heat, humidity, mid-90s, the heat index in the triple digits.
Those heat indexes you were showing earlier, it's crazy.
Ridiculous. As high as 108 in Columbus earlier today.
That's too much to deal with.
But summer officially came in this morning, so this is what it should be like, right?
Just came in full force.
Oh, it did.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good weekend. We'll see you tonight.